Just one second. Let me get I need to pull up your case too. Just one second. Okay. During COVID, we did a lot of YouTube, but not as much anymore. It's slow. There it is.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
may I ask what my time restraint is? A half an hour or 45 minutes?
Your time limit, well, each side, I usually try to give each side about 30 minutes for direct and cross. I'll try to, maybe I can shortcut this just a little bit too. Here we go. Found your case. All right. So are you the movant, Ms. Glasgow?
We are.
All right. Can you, and it looks like that this is an older case. Is this some modification or has it been going
It's a
on?
modification, Your Honor.
Can you tell me what the underlying order in your case, what were the terms?
So the parties are joint managing conservators. Ms. Bouchong is the conservator with the right to designate in the underlying order. And today we're here asking for the court to change that.
Okay. And if and I haven't made up my mind, obviously, but if that does happen, what kind of access would she have to the children?
We're asking for her to have one child, her name's Alice. We're asking for her to have a standard possession order for parties that live over 100 miles from each other, as the parties live in separate states at this point in time.
Okay. And where does your client live?
My client lives in Washington State with the child.
Okay. And then Ms. Bushong, you live here locally?
I just recently moved to Starr County, so Rio Grande City, Texas. It's about 7 hours from Jefferson County.
Okay. And okay, so if she would get, so if you're asking for her to get the over 100 miles standard possession order, then she would get 42 days in the summer?
Correct. So for Washington County, actually, the kiddos don't go back to school until mid-September, so that would still be possible for Miss Bouchon.
Okay. All right. So okay. And right now the children reside with her in
No, right now the child subject of the suit resides with dad, Austin Miller, and has done so for the past like 9 months.
Okay. All right. So do you want to Ms. Bushong, go ahead and let me hear from Mr. Miller. His attorney will question him, and let me and then when they finish, I would like to hear from you to hear your side of it. This is a temporary hearing, so this is nothing, long term.
Right.
This is only until our next hearing. If you don't mind, Ms. Glasgow, do you mind if I ask Ms. Bushong? He says the child has been with him for 9 months. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, but not, it's not how it was supposed to be.
Well, okay. Um, uh, Bear with me. Let me just ask her a few questions because we're going to be limited on time. So
Okay.
how did the child end up living with him?
Are you asking me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. In September, or in August, Austin had asked me if I wanted to let Alice go up there because I was going through a difficult time in my marriage. And I had moved in with my mom temporarily. And she was supposed to return in February of this year. And after numerous attempts of getting him to bring her back to me, I was served with papers saying that he wanted to have a modification done
Okay.
to the order. So
Okay. And so, and how old is Alice?
she just turned 6 yesterday.
6? Okay. So I'm guessing she probably did kindergarten up there in Washington?
Yes.
Okay. And did you go up there and see her very often, or were you able to? It's a long,
I
long
wasn't
way.
for a while I wasn't able to, but I did try and schedule a visit a little while ago, and Austin told me that he did not feel comfortable with the
Okay.
visit. So
All right. Well, I don't want the child to be away from either parent, if so, all right. Miss Glusco, if you want to go ahead and question your client, please.
Okay, so I'll kind of just fast track it. I had a few exhibits, but I understand we're time limited, so I'm gonna go for testimony.
Okay, good.
Mr. Miller, could you please state your name for the record?
Austin Miller.
Okay, and you are the father of the child subject to this suit, Alice Marie Miller, is that correct?
Yes.
And we heard Alice's birthday was yesterday. What can you tell me what year she was born?
2019.
Okay. And today you're here asking for the court to designate you as the conservator to decide where she lives. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And we've heard from Miss Bouchon that Alice came to live with you around August. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And so originally around February, I guess you guys once she got back on her feet, she was supposed to return. Is that correct?
She was, yes.
Okay, and why did she not return to Miss Bouchon?
Well, it had seemed as though she had never actually changed anything by the time she was asking for her to come back. She was still in the same position. And then it also felt as though it was going to uh, be a hindrance to Alice's stability at the time.
Okay. And by not changing anything, what situation are we speaking of?
Living with her mother unemployed.
Okay. And when you say living with her mother unemployed, is that currently where Miss Bouchon resides?
No, she now resides with her husband in Rio Grande.
Okay. Is that the husband that Miss Bouchon just spoke of?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And do you have some concerns with who she currently lives with, her husband?
I do.
Can you tell me about those concerns?
I know that he was arrested for an obscenity charge, as well as has a past charge of smuggling drugs across the border.
Okay. Let's discuss that obscenity charge. When was this arrest?
I could not tell you the exact date. I know it was, I believe, while Alice was still down there before she had came to me, so it was before August.
Okay. So around August of 2024?
Or sometime before, yes.
Okay. And I hate to put you in a very sensitive spot, but can you tell the court about this obscenity charge? What exactly was he accused of?
All I know about it is that he was accused of masturbating in a Walmart parking lot in
Okay.
Wisconsin.
And do you have some concerns with your child being around that type of person?
I do. I don't think it's appropriate for such a person to be around a child in general, especially left alone with one, especially if it's not his.
And to your knowledge, is he still going through that case?
I believe so, but I don't have much knowledge on his current standing.
Okay. Let's just talk a little bit. You pointed to stability of Miss Bouchon. How many addresses in the last couple of years since you have this order are you aware of Miss Bouchon having?
3 to 4.
Okay. And do you have some concerns with that for Alice's stability's sake?
Absolutely, especially for educational reasons. Constantly moving around houses as well as schools, and also her counselor has diagnosed her with an adjustment disability or adjustment disorder that makes it hard for her to adjust to new situations suddenly.
Okay. And did you tell Miss Bouchon about this disorder?
I did.
Okay. Do you recall her response?
Yes, her response was simply that she doesn't care what the counselor says, that she's her mother.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. And
Wait, don't interrupt her, and I won't let them interrupt you when you tell your side, okay?
Okay.
okay. And currently, you're asking the court to award Ms. Bushong the right to see Alice on a standard possession order. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But are you wanting her to exercise that standard possession order outside of her husband?
Yes, that is what I'm hoping for.
Okay. Can you tell me how Alice is currently doing in school?
She's doing outstanding. She has received multiple awards while just in kindergarten, has recently graduated from kindergarten, and is very much so looking forward to her first grade.
Okay. And is Alice involved in any extracurriculars there?
She is. She's involved in gymnastics and has moved up to level 2 and is on the verge of moving up to level 3, as well as also her routine counseling that we go to every Friday.
Okay.
Almost.
All right. And we heard a little bit about visitation. How many times has mom come to see Alice since August?
She has not come up to see Alice once so far.
Okay. Has there been any attempts by mom to come see Alice?
We had planned out on multiple occasions, I believe one being Thanksgiving, the other being Christmas, and then another for Valentine's Day, where she had told Alice that she was going to try to come up and visit and then never did. And then on the last time, she wanted to come up for a weekend. However, we were kind of in the midst of possibly finding out when the court date was around that time. And it was just for a quick weekend visit that felt like a flight risk. And my attorney advised me to not allow that meeting.
Okay. And by your attorney, you mean Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Okay. And so you felt like she was just coming right before the court to get Alice?
It's what it felt like, yes.
Okay. And prior to those other setups, what was the agreement?
We had actually offered her housing while she was here, and that we would pick her up from the airport. She could stay with some of Jessica's family. We, let them use a car and, tell them about all the best places to go to spend time. And then, we were we were going to house her for about a week while she was here.
Okay. And what were the reasons why those plans fell through?
The plans were made, but Julia had never bought the tickets and just never came.
Okay. And during this case, you have some pending child support, is that correct?
I do.
And at first you continued to pay your child support, correct?
I did for about 2 payments, I believe, after we had received Alice.
Okay. And you stopped paying your child support. Is there a reason for that?
It just became a bit difficult to both provide for my daughter and continue to pay child support at the same time.
Okay. And has been a point where you've asked Miss Bushong to return any of the support to help you out with Alice?
We had asked for her to return what was taken in my tax return. However, no, I have not asked her for any money other than that.
Okay. Did she return that tax return?
She did not.
Okay. And so to be clear, you're a little behind on child support because you are supporting Alice.
Yes.
So to be clear, to clarify for the court, Alice was never supposed to return until after being with you for 6 months anyway. Is that correct? Mr. Miller, are you still there?
Oh,
Your Honor, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think he's frozen.
Okay. My goodness.
Right, let's give it a second.
Yes, sir.
Okay, he'll come back in a second. Probably.
My apologies, Your Honor.
Oh, no, it's the technology guy. Wait a minute. If you're taking responsibility for all the technological problems, then I don't think I can forgive you. But I don't think I can put that on you, okay?
Yeah, I just know Zoom. This is why courts detest the Zoom hearings in the first place.
No, actually, I don't necessarily detest them, but it sometimes things go fast but if there's ever a glitch or a low bandwidth or something, then it just makes it tricky. But you know,
Understood.
don't worry, he'll come back. So Miss Glasgow, are you in Beaumont or nearby or what?
No, we are in Humble, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
You're pretty close. Okay. And what's the biggest city in Starr County, Miss Bushong?
I believe it's McAllen.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Ooh, that's way down south, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Miss Glasgow, I know this is a little irregular, but just in the interest of time, do you mind if I hear a little bit from Miss Bushong?
No, not at all, Your Honor.
Miss Bushong, I'm going to let him come back and testify some more, but can you tell me a little bit more about your story? And all right, so you're married now,
I am married, yes.
and he got in trouble for something.
Yes. Yes, he
And
did.
are y'all still together?
We are together. The time that Alice was up in Washington, me and him were kind of trying to figure out what we were going to do because we were going through trials and tribulations.
Yeah,
Um, so, I thought that it would be best for Alice to go up there because she is very emotionally intelligent, and I didn't
yeah,
want her to strain at all or, be involved or be in any of that stress. So
yeah.
during that time, but we did decide that we were going to continue our marriage, and we actually got a house here in Rio. And we are doing very well. We've worked through everything, and we became better for each other, and we've grown a lot. We decided to leave our past in the past. So
Yeah.
but yeah, we're doing good now, and
Okay.
so I would like to address that, the obscenity charge, and
Okay.
say that I know that he's not a threat to my children. He's a great father, and he is a provider. I mean, he was there for Alice when Austin wasn't able to. Um, so, I know for a fact that he is not a threat to my children. Also, they were speaking about the counselor stating that she had an adjustment disorder. Um, my response was not that I didn't care. That was to a different situation. That response that he said that I gave was during a situation. Austin's wife had referred to herself as mommy to Alice and would write, like from mommy to Alice on her gifts. And I didn't really agree with that. It hurt me a little bit. So I attempted setting boundaries, and I said, for her to call you Mama Jess is okay, but for her to call you mommy is much more personal, and I feel like that should be kept between the mother and the child. Um, so I did attempt to set those boundaries, and he basically said that his counselor or her counselor said that giving and taking away titles is can affect the child or something along those lines. And after I attempted to set those boundaries, was things like weren't really the same after that. Um, uh, Austin. Soon after that, Austin started recording every phone call, and also um about 2 months ago he stopped all FaceTime. Yesterday was the first time that I got to FaceTime my daughter in 2 months. And that was on her birthday, and I thank God for that. but also the visitation, the trips to Washington are very expensive. And when I was going to go up there, I wanted to have alone time with my child. I didn't want to stay at their family's house or their house. I feel, I guess, like uncomfortable. I would be uncomfortable. And, I wanted to spend time with my child and, be alone. So just the trip up there was very, very expensive, a couple of $1,000s. And when I was able to go visit, I reached out to Austin and I tried scheduling something. And, he said that he was advised by his lawyer that, you know, um, they didn't agree with it. So that didn't happen. But he also has not brought her to Texas at all, to see any of her family here. She is very well rooted here in Texas, has a lot of family that loves and cares about her very much.
How did
So
how did you how did you decide to move to Starr County?
my husband's dad built a house here, and he passed it down to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And and what about your family? Where do they all live?
In Jefferson County. All of the family, Austin's family and my family live in Jefferson County, which
Okay.
is about 7 hours from me.
Right, right.
Mhm.
And so tell me, so what is your husband's name?
His name is Gilberto.
And what happened with I guess it was an indecency charge or something.
Yes.
What happened with that charge?
He had finished his court. He's on probation at the moment.
All right, and does and do you know anything about the terms of probation?
It's I
Who he
know that
can be
it's
with or anything like that?
no, there are no restrictions.
Like that? Okay.
No, sir.
And so how did you meet him?
I actually met him on a dating app a few years
Okay.
ago.
All
Yeah.
right. And so he lived up here.
He was actually at the time we met, he was living in Sulphur, Louisiana for work.
Oh,
And then all these years has passed and now we're living here in Rio.
and what kind of work does he do?
He's an iron worker. He works in industrial construction.
And he's working down there in the valley.
Yes, at the moment, he's actually in Georgia. He works in Georgia, and
Okay.
his job allows for me to be a stay-at-home mom, so I'm here with my children all day. Or
All
my
right. And
child.
how many other children do you have other than Alice?
I have one child.
Okay. Well, yeah, I thought you said, all right.
One other child, sorry.
All right. And how old is that other child?
She'll be 2 in September.
Okay. And all right. And so I know you're a stay-at-home mom, and that's okay. So what kind of work did you do in the past?
In the past, I worked mostly in a hotel, or I've worked for myself doing like grocery delivery or food delivery or
Okay.
things like that, where I
Okay.
can make my own hours.
Okay. Um, all right. And is it uh
Gilberto?
Gilberto gonna be
Yes.
in Georgia?
In Georgia, I believe the project is about a year long, but so he works for so long and then he is able to come back
Okay.
and stay for,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Is there anything else that you think that I need to know about from your
Um,
side?
uh, Off the top of my head, it's just, like she was supposed to come back in February. And then I had made multiple attempts trying to get him to come up with a date for her to come back, and that never happened. And then eventually I was served with papers. On the papers, it said that she had been with him for more than 6 months, and that is not true. The papers were filed in January, and that would have been 4 months, and then February, 5 months. I don't know if that is really relevant, but um,
Okay.
also um, the uh, stability side of things. I know he brought that up. Um, Alice, we do have stability here. We have created that. So I have no concerns for stability moving forward. And whenever me and my husband were going through that tough time, I made the decision as her mother to put her with her father where she could have that stability until we figured out what we were going to do. So other than that, I do have some concerns with Austin's wife. But it's not so much. It's really just that she won't let Alice speak for herself. The phone calls that me and Alice have are closely monitored, and I feel like I can't have a natural conversation with my daughter.
Okay.
And also I feel like Austin's wife kind of guides Alice and kind of tells her what to say, which I understand that she's a child, but it is a little bit distracting, and I just don't really understand it. So,
Okay. So I understand and that you feel like that he might have kind of betrayed your trust. But
yes.
other than that, and other than some of the problems that you've had with his wife, do you do you think other than that, is he a pretty good dad?
He's a good dad, yes, he is. I will give him that. There was up until he met his wife now, it was very hit or miss with him. He um kind of was stuck in that way of like doing his own thing, and
Mm-hmm.
um it was hard to get him to help with Alice. Um there were multiple times where I had asked for help and he said that he wasn't able to. He was watching his finances. And so, and there was also, we had a little thing going where I would have her for 2 weeks and then he would have her for 2 weeks. That was like a thing we had before we went to court. And whenever it was his 2 weeks, she stayed with her his grandparents during that time, and he would just go and see her, during those 2 weeks. Um, so yeah, like I said, it was very hit or miss until he met his current wife. After that, um, he started wanting to have more time with her, which I allowed because, he hadn't really been consistent in her life before, and I never denied any relationship or anything like that with them. So, he was requesting more time, and I was okay with that. And since then, he's been trying to, I guess, have the primary where he can, designate residency. And also the child support is another concern. He doesn't, it, he's not consistent with it. He'll let it get, like build up a little bit before he pays. And I believe it was set to is scheduled for like once a month or something like that. So it's also a little hit or miss there. But other than that, he is a good dad, and I do appreciate him for, um, growing and wanting to be a part of Alice's life. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Let me get back. Let me get Ms. Glasgow to finish questioning Mr. Miller. So, did you have any other questions, Ms. Glasgow?
Can I cross-examine her
Of
since we're
course,
okay?
of course.
Miss Bouchon, I know you spoke of Austin's wife, but at one point you would have called her a friend. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so you guys had a super personal relationship before this filing.
We did, yes.
Okay, and it wasn't until after this filing that the concern popped up.
The concerns, yes, it was after, because after I set boundaries with her is when they started acting different towards me. So that is when the issues really, I started noticing a change
Okay.
in behavior from, yes.
Okay, and did Alice begin calling Jessica mommy, or did Jessica lead, to your knowledge, her to
To my
call?
knowledge, I'm not sure. I really don't know. I can't answer that.
Okay,
Because I'm not there.
did they ever share with you that Alice called her mommy first? Did they ever share that with you?
I believe they did, but I didn't believe it, honestly.
Hey,
Okay.
Julia, is that how you pronounce your first name, Julia?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Listen, I've I've been doing this a while, and it's not unusual for children just on their own just to refer to a step parent as a mommy or daddy, or and maybe
Right.
someday she might even refer to Gilberto as daddy. It's just something kids do. And my daughter, I adopted her later, but when she was my stepdaughter, she kind of did the same thing.
Okay.
That's not unusual, and I promise you, it's there. In a lot of the cases I hear, no one really prompts them to do that.
Okay.
So no,
Yeah,
so that's not a betrayal there's no betrayal there by the child of your importance. You're always going to be your mommy, and that's all there is
oh
to it.
yeah, yes, I
All right.
know. Yes.
Okay. So go ahead, Miss Glasgow.
Okay. And you said that you have gained some stability now, is that correct?
That is correct.
But prior to you moving to Stark County, how many addresses had you had since this order?
I lived in Sulphur for a year. I had an apartment in Nederland for a year. Before that, I lived with my father. And let's see. And then temporarily moved with my mom, for about 6 months.
Okay.
So,
Have you
yeah.
also lived with your sister as well?
My sister,
that time?
yes. Yes.
Okay. So in that time period since the last order, about 4 to 5 residences, is that correct?
No, that is not correct. No.
Okay.
That was throughout the years. Like, or you say, okay, so since the last court hearing is what you're saying, right?
Since this last order.
Since the last order, okay. So Sulphur, and then with my mom.
Okay. So
Sulphur for a year, and then I moved with my mother temporarily.
okay. And now your current residence, is that correct?
Yes, that is
So
correct.
about 3 residences.
Yes, but this is my permanent housing situation. So
Understood. So regarding Alice's schooling,
Mhm.
she doesn't really have any family aside from yourself there and Riley in Stark County. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Myself, my husband's family, which also she's very well loved by them as well, and has connections with them as well. Um,
Okay. And so I know you said, I'm trying to remember all things. I know you said that you had some you didn't have any concerns, or you didn't have any concerns with your husband and his obscenity charge.
not regarding my children. I know that like I said, I believe and I trust my husband. He is not a threat to my children. So obviously this happened, it was I think a year and a half ago. And since then we have worked through that. It was a mistake. He had a moment of weakness. We worked through it. He learned from that mistake. He did his, he's doing his part. So, but
Okay.
yes, regarding that, I do not believe he's a threat to my children.
Okay. I don't want to object, but if we could limit the narrative, that would be amazing. Okay?
The narrative, I'm sorry, what do you
Yeah.
mean?
Just
In other words, just
try to stick to the question.
just
Okay, yeah.
answer questions short and sweet, but I'll give
Yes.
you a chance to if you want to expand on it later, okay? But
Okay.
we do need to step it up just a little
Okay.
bit.
Really quickly though, but that charge did occur. I mean, the action did occur in a Walmart parking lot. Is that correct?
That is
So
correct.
I
And
didn't
so
understand that.
that
I
that
didn't understand
action,
your question.
the crime did occur in a Walmart parking lot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so there could have been other children around at that point. Is that correct?
It was the middle of the night, so I don't believe so.
Okay. I'm going to move on from this question. I'm going to pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Julia, did you want to add anything else to what you've told me so far or expand on any of your answers?
Um, I can't really think of anything. I mean, I would just I'm not really, I don't really have anything else. So I don't know if you have any more questions for me or
No, you were very complete. Thank you.
okay.
All right. And so, Ms. Glasgow, did you, we kind of cut Mr. Miller short, or the bandwidth did, I suppose. Do you have
Oh,
any other questions for him?
Mr. Miller, just I guess two more questions.
Yes.
Uh, well, maybe I covered them. We already spoke about gymnastics, is that correct?
Yes, we did.
And we spoke about. Okay, I think I just wanted to say one more thing. Mr. Miller, regarding your child support, prior to this order, I'm sorry, prior to you having Alice, how did you pay your child support?
I had so for when child support was first put on, it had not loaded on the Attorney General website for quite some time, and so yes, it was being charged. However, I could not see it, nor could I pay it. So all I could do was routinely check it, and throughout that process is when she was repeatedly asking me, and basically trying to say that I was neglecting it and not paying it. However, I had no access. As soon as it was posted, I paid the complete balance off all at once and then routinely made my payments until I had received Alice. And then about two payments, which would be about 2 months after that, is when I had told Julia that I can no longer keep paying it while I have her.
Okay. And currently, you don't, for some reason, there's no income withholding order in this case. Is that correct?
I don't believe so. I'm not 100% sure what that is.
It
Oh,
doesn't come out of your
uh,
paycheck. Is that correct?
yes, it doesn't come out of my paychecks.
And so if the court, I understand we're here on temporary orders, but if the court orders that you are the primary conservator for right now, would you ask the court to temporarily stay your child support obligation?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And Julia, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
I mean, Alice, I mean, the situation, um, I believe it would be all right for Alice to come back. I mean, that's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Ms. Glasgow?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Look, I think you both are good parents. Don't have any concern about that. Julia, and the problem on these cases is that for whatever, whether it was kind of your intention or not, the child has resided with the dad for a while. On a temporary hearing, I hate to keep changing, changing custody back over to you, because that means that he's going to have the child for the summer. So that doesn't buy you anything. Plus, if I do make a decision to change custody, I want to make it, then when we have our final hearing, I'll make it, and then we're going to move the child one time, and it wouldn't be move the child to you. Then if I decided in favor of the dad, I'd have to move the child back to the dad. The child just needs to land somewhere for a while. But again, I'm not saying I won't make a change, but I'm not going to make that change at this time. All right.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go ahead and Austin, I'm going to stop your child support. I'm not going to set any child support for Julia at this time, but if this continues on in this way, I will, because she's going to have the child this summer. So Julia, you need to work with Austin and figure out, about and you have to go get the child. I'm sorry, and you got to bring the child back to him. Um, and your husband, he's probably a nice guy, and you never know what you're going to see at Walmart, right? But I don't want him alone with this child. Okay, you promise me that? All right.
Yes.
Okay. And it sounds like he's going to be probably gone quite a bit in the summer. So I don't want him alone with the child, because I just don't know him very well, and I need to kind of figure out what's going on there. So dad will be the temporary primary, joint managing conservator. Mom will be the joint managing conservator with expanded standard possession order over 100 miles. His child support will stop, and then your child's, and I won't start hers for the time being. Was there, Miss Glasgow, are you asking, hey, how's the child covered on insurance? Austin?
She is on state medical here in Washington because
right.
my job did not offer affordable insurance.
Okay. All
Pay
right. So let's just leave that alone for the time being. And remember, this is not long term. This is until I will give you, I want you guys back at least by August the 29th. And at that time, I will have a scheduling hearing and we will decide if we will pick a day sometime after that for a final hearing. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
So anyway, and Austin, I want Julia to have as much FaceTime as y'all can stand. I mean, Julia, don't go crazy, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, she's 6. I mean, I don't even though you're her mommy, and I'm sure she's going to be excited to see you. I mean,
Yes.
keep a 6-year-old, to a real attentive on FaceTime forever. So
Yeah.
reasonable access on the phone and Austin, no one, I mean, you don't want her like cruising the web on, but but give them some time. I mean, no one has to be interfere. No one has to be looming over the screen, looking and seeing what's going on. And so I want y'all both to have a great, relationship with this child. I wish you two just didn't live so far away, but it is what it is. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Teresa, yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I do have a question. So when will Alice be able to come here with me, like for a visitation?
Well, I'm going to let you because you need to look and find out about flights and airlines and all that other stuff. But she needs
Okay.
to be back. I want her back though, but she needs to be back up there so she can start first grade with all
Right.
the kids that she went to school with in kindergarten, on time.
Right.
So, all right, we're going to play a little fast and loose with the rules, Teresa, but y'all figure it out and then
Okay. I'll
need to look.
circulate. I'll get an order circulated, Your Honor. So hopefully we can have something to prove up here
Good.
shortly.
All right, but Julia, you got to get on today and start looking for, good prices on airlines and stuff like that. And
Yes.
because it's going to be you and a child or, back and forth, and that'll be a hassle. Yes, sir. Austin?
Say that uh, that because currently we are at like camping. We're at the beach right now for her birthday, and so as far as to be back in town locally to where if needed, for access to the airport, so access to Alice, it would probably be the 6th is the day that we return. So that gives her, I guess a little less than a week to skip flight.
Yeah. All right, that's not unreasonable. So
Uh,
you probably get a better price if we waited a week or so anyway, right, Julia?
Right.
All right, so start looking for the deals, the bargains, okay?
if possible, I know this is kind of up to your decision. Because of her adjustment disorder, we would like to request at least like a week before school starts for her to adjust to normal sleeping schedule.
That's reasonable. I mean, you got 42 days and you're early July. There's more than enough time, I think, to get the child back before, a week before mid-September school start, right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. We'll do it. I think that's okay. If y'all run into any problems, y'all just let me know and we'll come back on Zoom and we'll work out any kinks, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Was there anything else anybody needs? All right. So, all right, relief is granted and rendered, and unless there's some problems, I will see you all on August the 29th at 8:30, and then we'll start talking, kind of see how things are going and start planning long term. And I will ask you and you might be able to do it on Zoom, but I am going to ask you all to mediate before you come to trial, okay?
Yes,
Okay.
Your
All right. Okay, I'm going to let you all go. Good luck and thank you.
All right.
Honor. Thank you so much, Judge Shelton.